Hey guys, what is up? This is Cat back for another episode of Unchained with the Captain. We continue looking at the films of Quentin Tarantino this month, and today's entry is Bong! Reservoir Dogs from 1992. We'll take a look at it right after the titles. Reservoir Dogs chronicles the aftermath of a jewel heist gone bad. The thieves are told to use an old warehouse as a rendezvous point after the crime. As they turn up one by one, they begin to suspect that one of them might be an undercover cop. Sad to say, this wasn't the first Tarantino movie I saw. That would be Pulp Fiction. I was discussing it with a friend, and he told me about Reservoir Dogs and how it was a really great film as well. Well, this is one of the best movie recommendations I've ever gotten. This is just an unbelievably fantastic movie. Let's talk briefly about the cast. Harvey Keitel plays Mr. White, and he's kind of an everyman in this. He's very relatable. Steve Buscemi plays Mr. Pink. He's the logical one. He's always trying to keep the peace. He sees the bigger picture. Michael Madsen plays Mr. Blonde. He's the unbalanced psycho of the group. Tim Roth plays Mr. Orange. He gets shot at the beginning of the movie, and he spends most of the film bleeding all over the floor. Let's talk about how this movie got made. The story I got is Quentin Tarantino was working at a video store and taking a screenwriting class. The teacher was none other than Harvey Keitel's wife. She loved the script Quentin turned in so much, she showed it to Harvey, who also loved it and pushed the studio really hard to get the movie made. Harvey Weinstein was one of the producers, but don't hold that against this film. You get a cold open with this one, which I'm a big fan of, obviously. It's all the gangsters having breakfast and bullshitting with each other before the jewel heist. This is a great way to introduce the characters. It gives you just enough to get a sense of what these guys are about. There's an older movie called The Taking of Pelham 123 from 1974. That's another great film you guys should check out if you like heist movies. It's about four criminals hijacking a subway car in New York City. They use the pseudonyms Mr. Blue, Mr. Green, Mr. Gray, and Mr. Brown. Now, many people think this is where Tarantino got the idea for the aliases using colors, and I would tend to agree with that assertion. All the music in this comes from the fictitious classic rock station, K-Billy's Super Sounds of the 70s. It gives the movie a mid-70s vibe, even though it takes place in the early 90s. The DJ is voiced by Stephen Wright, who was a fairly well-known comedian in the early to mid-80s. He also had a brief cameo in Natural Born Killers as a psychiatrist. Most of the movie takes place in an abandoned warehouse, aside from a few flashbacks that take place before the heist. The actual heist is never shown, and you'd think that would make the movie boring or that you'd feel cheated, but it works really well with Quentin's directing style. Cinematography for the warehouse scenes is striking. He really shows you what he can do with a camera. I love this movie so much I even went as Mr. Pink for Halloween one year. Now this is me and my good friend Mary, who was kind enough to let me use the photo for this video. Now I ended up losing to a guy dressed up as Shaun from Shaun of the Dead. Balls! This one is available on Blu-ray in 1080p from Amazon, and the print is better than average. As of this video, it's not on Netflix right now, and I did find a couple copies on YouTube, but the quality is piss poor. So find yourself a really good copy if you're going to watch this. We're going to go into spoiler territory here real quick, so click here if you want to skip past the spoilers. In 3, 2, 1. Okay, so at the end, everyone is dead except Mr. Pink, who grabs the diamonds and runs from the warehouse. Now, if you got the Mr. Pink DVD like I did, the notes inside say he got caught almost immediately. Now, I would disagree with this. My takeaway was that he kept his shit together and acted like a professional, unlike everyone else, and got away because of it. I thought that was the moral of the story. So what's the verdict on this one? This is an amazing effort from a completely unknown director at the time. The acting is stellar and the dialogue is just fantastic. The pacing is great and the cinematography is nothing less than brilliant. If you haven't yet, I urge you to see this one soon. Well, that's all I got for you guys on Reservoir Dogs. Next time we'll be checking out Kill Bill Volumes 1 and 2. And yes, I'm counting them as one movie. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for another horrible impression. And you guys are dismissed. Up your nose with a rubber hose. Like and subscribe, oh my God.